myself Dinesh Shankar, and he has a 3 decade of coding experience and has contributed several landmark technology implementation in India. So we are truly grateful to have you with us today, sir. And without further delay, I request Arun Shah sir to kindly take over the session. And can you please share your screen and we can begin, sir. Thank you.
Am I audible? Dinesh, is my voice clear?
Yes, sir, you're audible. And your screen is also visible to us, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Nice to meet all of you after a long time. So, thanks to Dinesh for discussing about this and talking about the scripting. So, we are now going to discuss a little bit about Eclipse scripting API. I have a little bit of experience with scripting. I have a little bit of experience in coding, and I have a little bit of experience in medical physics. So have been touching through all this for a little bit of time. So we in the next 40-45 minutes, we will just look through that what is ESAPI, what is scripting, and why we are trying to do that. So I have got around 34 years of coding experience. I have started working with BASIC. Now we have C#, Python, and whatnot. So the coding journey has been very much easier time by time. And in the modern days, actually, the coding is much more easy now. So it used to be a closed system where only a very few number of people can do it. To that situation has come today in 2026, where anybody can create a code. And we'll be discussing about that by the end of the session. So what we will try to cover today is what is the foundation, what is an app, what is C#, what is ESAPI, what is its architecture, and we can just see a few codes. We'll show you what is a plugin, what is an app, and how we can use AI in today's generation, and we'll just see a roadmap of what you can do in the future. To start with, I would like to say what is an app really. So an application, actually, what is coding? Why we are trying to do coding is when we want to talk to a computer, we have to talk to the computer in the language that the system can understand. So when we are talking, when two people are talking with each other, the most important thing is that the other person should understand what you're trying to talk. So the computer is a machine. The computer understands machine language. And the machine language is coded in binary, that is zeros and ones. So when we are talking in our language, the computer has to understand it, means it has to be converted into zeros and ones into a binary language. So the processor will understand only the binary language. So how do you convert this from this language to that language? So first you create a language, which we call Python or C or Java, any of these languages. Okay. What is a language? Language is a set of words or a dictionary that we have created, and we say that, okay, these are the words that I'm going to use. Okay. If somebody can create one dictionary with new words, actually it becomes a language. So that's how all these languages are created. But to convert that into a executable file, which is what the computer understands, we need a compiler, which converts this into machine language. So there are two types of compilers. One is where you write all the language, translate everything, and then give it to the computer will run it, which is the exe files, the DLL files, which you're all familiar with. There is another type of a compiler, which we call as interpreter, which is your browser, the Internet Explorer, the Chrome, all of them. You have to just give it the code. It will change the code on the fly. During the browsing, whenever you start browsing, that is a point when it starts converting into a machine language. Okay. So now here we are talking about compilers only, because that is the only thing that Eclipse supports, where You write something, it is converted into machine language, and then it is run. In today's time, actually, we have got C Sharp, which is actually recommended by Eclipse, and people have tried to do it in Python also. So we have got by ESAPI also, which is good actually. You can definitely try that. But there are some things that C Sharp is better in that aspects. So there are few differences, because in Python, it's when you're doing so much of loops and everything, actually, it becomes a little bit slower. And since Eclipse is designed in C Sharp, actually C Sharp does these things better. Okay. Just to show you difference of how Python and C Sharp is. So for example, those who are working with Python, some of the formats are nowadays accepted in C Sharp. But when you are doing a plugin and want to compile it in Eclipse, Eclipse is still using the old compiler. So the format has to be as per C Sharp format. Otherwise, some of the newer formats doesn't work yet. The question is, why should a physicist code? Is it our job to do a coding? Like, it's a big question actually. You can always give instructions, and then you can ask a coder, you can hire some IT person and ask them to do a code. The real question is that, what do we want from a code? Okay, we want to do some physics information. We want to see some dose information. We want to do some QA information. How are you going to explain that to an IT person? He's not going to understand. How good can you explain somebody with 2 years of your knowledge just in one day or 1 week or 1 month? It's not possible. So you want something, you have to create it. And when we create a code, actually, we can simplify a lot of the manual works that we are doing into an automated works. Are we trying to reduce our work? Yes, we are. Are we trying to reduce our error? Yes, we are. And what we achieve from this? We get better patient care. And our ultimate aim is to achieve a better patient care. Right? What is ESAPI? So those who know about coding actually know how we write functions, we write codes, but we don't want to tell anybody that what is written in our code, how we have placed the logic into it, how the flow of the coding is going on, from where to where, what is going on. That's, if I create something, actually, that is my property and I don't want to share it. But I want everybody to use my software. So what do? I create an API. API is an application programming interface. What it does, it just gives the name of the function. You call the function, and whatever is inside the code is running over there. That's what Eclipse does. So in Eclipse, you can say open patient, and you give the ID. It will open the patient. But for opening the patient, actually, there is a large code that is running in Eclipse. Like, it goes to the database, it accesses the tables, it takes all the information, then it brings everything to your screen. We don't see that, but it is doing a lot of work in the background. So we don't get that code, but we just get the name of the function, open patient. So that's what an API is. So it's an Eclipse scripting API. So the API has to be given by the developer only. The vendor who has developed the software has to give us the API. So Eclipse has given us this API. We can use that. We can use that to open patients. We can open the courses, the plans, the structures. We can read the dose and the DVH. We can get the beam parameters. There are plan check softwares which is inside this. So we can actually drive a TPS outside the Eclipse with few restrictions. You cannot approve a plan. For that, we have to definitely go into Eclipse. So Eclipse gives us three options. One is a single file plugin. It's very easy. Just one file with a small code.
So, sorry to interrupt. Hi.
Yeah, please.
So some of your mobile, I think it's not in mic is not. You mean to mute the mic.
Yeah, mine?
It's fine. It's fine, sir. Nice as well. Thank you. So please continue.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Please continue. Yeah, it's clear.
Yes. So in ESAPI, Eclipse is giving three options. One is a single file plugin. It's very easy. Just in one page, actually, it gives you the code. It says that, okay, this is how you do it. Actually, the main basic things is open an Eclipse, open the patient, and complete it. Then we have a Windows plugin. Sometimes we want to interact with it. Okay, I want a small drop down where I can choose what I want to see. Say, for example, you have got 3 plans. You want to choose that which one you want. And then we have the standalone. Standalone is like a separate exe file, which is outside the Eclipse. You don't have to open the external beam planning. You don't have to open the user home. It will just run outside. But actually, it is using the Eclipse in the background. This is how it is structured. So this is the structure of how Eclipse is designed. We cannot change it. So in Eclipse, the patient is there, and inside the patient, the course is there. Okay? And inside the course, the plan setup is there. And inside the plan setup, the beam dose, the structure set is there, and inside the structure set, the structure is there. So when we want to see what is the volume of, say, for example, the PTP, what we have to do? First, we have to open the patient. Once the patient is open, then we open the course. Once the course is open, actually, we open the plan setup inside that. And inside the plan setup, we open the structure set that we want. And inside the structure set, we choose the structure that we want. Okay. So a sample code is given on the right side. If you see, first we are doing the patient context. We are opening the patient. In that, so P is the patient. And for each course, actually, we are going through a loop. For each course, in the patient, actually, we are looping it. And then for each plan setup, we go through each beam and we go through each structure. We are just writing on the console that this is the name of the beam and the name of the structure. Okay. What it can do and what it cannot do, actually. Like I said, you can read the patient demographics, you can read the name, age, all the parameters, who is the primary physician, you can read all these parameters, you can read the structures, the contours, you can determine their volumes, you can actually do Boolean operations on the structures. Okay, you can do AND operator or operator, whatever you want, you can do that. You can read the calculated dose. You can read every beam parameters from it, the gantry, the couch, any of the parameters, you can read it. If the prescription is attached to the course, okay, only if the prescription is attached to the course, you can read the prescription. Okay, and in the external planning, actually, there is a section for dose where you give the dose and fractionation. That dose and fractionation you can read, and you can even run dose calculations in write mode, and you can create plans, beams, and optimization objectives also. You can export DICOM, you can create PDF reports, you can modify the structures, you can do a lot of things, but you cannot bypass the approval. Why? Because scripting is an automation software. What it does, it is creating an automatic background work without any manual intervention. It can do it. So we are handling patients. So as per the regulations, somebody has to approve it manually. So in Eclipse, you have to open Eclipse, you have to see what it has done, and then approve it. Okay. You cannot push a plan to Linac. You have to come to Eclipse. You have to plan, schedule it. You can do everything here. Okay. You cannot access the IIDB directly. Whatever access the API gives you, only that much access you have. Okay. Then you have to approve the scripts which you are creating, and then only you can use it for clinical use. I'll show you where the script approval is. So This is our Eclipse. The screen visible, right? Now,
Yes, sir.
in the screen, you go to Tools. Okay. In Tools, we have the option Script Administration. If you click Script Administration, you get this window where you get to approve the scripts. When you are creating a script in Visual Studio or any other IDE, there will be a version number that you can give in the script. The same, if you make any change to your script, please change the version number and get it approved. Okay. This is one demo patient we have. It's a head and neck patient. It's just a demo patient that we have been trying to do some studies with actually. So just exploring that what we can do with it and everything. How to run the script? Again, you go to Tools, and there is a column called Scripts. So when you go to Scripts, these are the scripts that we have in our center. Okay. And whatever scripts you run in your center will come over here. Select the first one, and I click Run. What it does, just simple says, hello demo ESAPI. That is the name of the patient and the ID number, gives the patient ID, and there are 2 courses in it. Okay. How did we create the code? So this is the code for that. I request everyone, if you can use laptops or PCs, then it will be better. If you are using mobile phones, then the words might be little smaller for you. So this is a small script that we have created. These are small libraries that we have. These are the 2 APIs that Variant provides us. VMS TPS common, model.api and model.types. So what you have to do, you have to go to references, add reference, and add these 2 to your project. Okay. So here I am giving is writable is equal to false. Why? Because we are not going to write anything into the patient. We are not going to create a plan. We are not going to modify the contour. We're not going to do anything. I'm just going to read it actually. So this is a program which I am writing in a read-only mode. That is what this is for. Okay. I'm not going into the full technical of what is this and how it is actually. Just write whatever you see on the screen as it is. Okay. Then you go into the VMS TPS, create a class called script, and then here is where our code starts. Void executes script context. What it does, when your Eclipse is open with a patient, for Eclipse, what it means, there is a context that is open. What is the context? In that context, it has the information of the patient. Okay, that is the context there. In that context, might be the patient is open, might be the patient is not open. There are 2 opportunities. So what we do, first we go into the context and we ask, is there an open patient or is there no open patient? Okay, so we have this Eclipse here. Now this is the context. Okay, this is the context we are talking about. Now we have a context with the patient open. Okay, just understand that much. This is the context with the patient open. Right? Now what we said, we create a string message and we say hello, which is inside the strings, and we say the patient name, the context.patient.name. So we go into the context, then we go into the patient, and inside the patient, we ask for the name, ID, and everything. Now, you want to get some other information about the patient. So in Visual Studio, you go to patient and click dot, and you type primary physician, primary physician name will come. Okay, so you can change what you want. There are written documents for this. Actually, there is an API help file. What you can get inside a patient, what you can read inside the courses. Actually, there is a complete list available. Right? I'll come to the second one. In this, actually, again, it is a read only. Here, again, we are using the context. And inside the context, we took the patient, whichever patient is open. If there is no patient, it will say open a patient first, and then it will return. So let's just check this code if it is working. I'll close the patient. I go to tools and script. I run the second one. It says open a patient first. Right? So the first part of the code is working. Done. Now, if the patient is open, then it comes to the next line. What we do actually, so we are creating a string. String is just like a paragraph. So I say the patient ID. The P is the patient that we have taken, right? P.id is the patient's ID. P.name is the patient's name. We take all the demographics, and we have just saved it into this, but we have not displayed that. Okay. Then what we do for each of the courses inside. So how many courses we have? 2 courses. So for each of the courses, it will select the course ID. Then it will give the name.
Can you please mute your mics?
So for each of the course, it will give the plan, the status, the fractions, the dose, and the beams. Okay. So it will take everything and then it will display that. So let us just check if it is working that way. We open a plan, we go to script. Okay. And I click run and see, magic. All the course, the plan, the status. Okay. Now, do you notice the course is on the top? There's a small space before the P, and there is a tab spacing before the status, the fractions and those. That is what we had given, the spacing. Okay. Now you see before course I have not given space, before the plan there's a little bit space, and this is space. So you can just structure that how your display comes. Okay. It has to be one below the other, or you have to be in the same row. You can decide how you want. Actually, it's just a string how you are going to place them together. Right? So let us come to the next one. Now, what you want now, you have seen the patient information. Now you want to see the dose distribution. Okay. For all the structures, you want to see the mean, max, or volume. Okay. I know the screen is small, you may not be able to see it, but these are the dose values. I hope that much is visible, that these are the organs doses. Right? So let us see how it is done. Again, the same thing. You start with the same everything. Nothing changes. You do the same execute. You do the you open the plan, and you have to open an approved plan. Okay. Then you get the plan ID, the dose, and where do you get the dose from? So for dose, we have to get the dose for each structure. So for each plan structures, okay, where it is not empty and it is ordered by the ID, so that actually the structures are in the alphabetic order. So that's why we are ordering it by the ID. So this is the code for reading the DVH data. So DVH data DVH is equal to plan dot get cumulative DVH data, and we have to say we want to get it in absolute or relative. There are two options here. So dose value can be absolute or relative, and volume can be absolute and relative. It is the same thing that we do on the DVH display. So we right click and select absolute and relative, right? So whatever DVH you get on that screen, actually that is the value that we are getting it. Okay, and the bin width is 0.1 gray. You can change it to 0.01 gray. What will happen? Actually, the data will be very heavy. There will be a lot of data to process. So to process the big data outside of Eclipse by yourself, you have to see that how much time you have. Okay. From that data, we want to get the dose at D95. How do you get D95? Yeah, so get dose at volume. Okay. Or we have another function which is called get volume at dose. Both are available. So we choose that. We say 95. The volume is in relative because we are looking at 95%. The dose representation is absolute. We get the absolute dose. Okay. Then all those values we write together and we show it in the message box, which is the message that we saw. Okay. Now, these codes are something you can just look at it. These are standard codes available. You have to practice. Okay. Now, let's see what the next one does. See. This is a Windows plugin. Remember, I told you there are 3 ways in which you can do it. The first 3 of them were single file segments. This is a Windows plugin. What difference do you see? It's the same data. It is the same patient. The data doesn't change or anything. But look at the structure of the page actually. Last time when we were you able to read what was there actually? It was not in the format actually. To format it, what we were doing, we were putting spaces and everything actually. Here, see how arranged the data is actually. So that is the advantage of having a plugin. Okay, you just create a grid. Okay, you design a page and you say on this grid, the first column will be this, the second column will be this. So it works like a Windows. How you design a Windows, you design the page that you want to see. Then you can do whatever you want. You can put text boxes. You can type the plan name. Okay, you can put a submit button there. And then only if I say submit, then only you show me the values. Actually, you can do all these things. That is the advantage of having a plugin. Okay, these are not API codes. These are all Windows codes. Actually, we create a text box, we create a scroll viewer, we create a button. Okay, all these things are. Now here is where we get the plan setup. It reads the plan and it gives the data from the beams. It gives the count of the beams, the number of fractions, the total dose. Okay. Now, I'll show you a standalone app that we have been using in our center. See. This is a standalone application. Okay. It doesn't need the Eclipse to be open. Even when the Eclipse is closed, this application can open. So when we were working in the department, we wanted to have some things that we wanted to do it faster. Okay. So this is the same demo patient. Okay. I opened this patient test 3. Now, when we have a patient in our department, we need to check whether the prescription is attached to the patient or not. We check that. If the prescription attached, it shows pass. If not, it will show me in red. Okay. Then the next problem that we faced was that, okay, whether the target name and the structure name in the prescription are matching or not. Okay. That is another problem that we faced actually, where the doctor will write PTV 6000 there and PTV HR in the other place actually. So we wanted to see whether the names are matching. So for that, we did this. The wanted to see whether it is a high resolution or a normal resolution. I think the words are so small. So what it says is the PTV HR is high resolution and the PTV LR is normal resolution. So this is very important if you are doing a hyperarc plan, because hyperarc plan needs high resolution PTV. We are a multi-centric hospital as a group of hospitals. So we want to see whether the plan done in a particular machine belongs to that hospital or not. So we verify that. Okay. And we wanted to create a workflow where whenever we get a patient, so we wanted to empty this, delete the empty structures, create a PTV sum. So we have our own department format in which we create our PTV sum. Okay. We create Boolean structures, we create ring structures, we create plan PTVs, and we do have our own set of optimization objectives, which is automatically pushed into the patient. You don't have to go into your optimization and directly type all of them. If you have like 30, 40 structures and you have a set of optimization objectives that you know you're using in your department, you can just add it. Okay. During the operation, if one of the structures doesn't happen, it will show a fail message. So this fail message is showing because this is already having a PTV sum. Okay, because this was a plan which was executed before. Hence, it has not created a PTV sum, which I'm okay with it. If I'm not, I have to go to Eclipse and then check that I am checking test 3 and what it is doing. Okay. So what I did, I opened an app, and inside the application, I started reading in a write mode. And now see the message, the structure set has changed in the database, and please update. Why? Because that application behaves like an Eclipse window. Okay, so you cannot open the patient on 2 windows and do it simultaneously. So you have to close it here. Okay, so I'm going to close the patient and open again so that there is no data mismatch. We can create Boolean structures, brainstem, and I think CTV. Actually, we can create Boolean structures. Yeah, so it gives a message that it is done. What we wanted particularly was a review. So whenever this patient is there, when the plan is completed, we want to see whether this patient, what was the isocenter shift, and the same parameters that we were looking at before, the dose that was prescribed versus the dose that was there. And we can just update the setup nodes directly from here, where these setup nodes of the shift coordinates will directly go into the beam parameters. And for analysis, we can load the DVH. So like I showed you before, actually, we can load the DVH, and in the DVH, we can choose whatever structure we want to see. And we can see the dose distribution here. Okay. I'll show you the snippets of the code. So this is how the application is. So first, what we have to do, you have to create an application instance. And then say create application. You know what this one line of code does? It opens your external beam planning. Okay, that's it, simple. When you write this much from here to here, it just opens the external beam planning. And then we have to open the patient. So whatever patient ID is there, it opens the patient. Okay, and I say open patient, begin modifications. Okay. We were not giving this in the last codes. Why? Because we are not trying to modify anything in it. We are just trying to use whatever is there. We are just trying to use it in a read-only mode. But here we are trying to modify something. I am trying to modify the contour. I'm trying to do some modification and save it back. So for that, we have to use begin modifications. Okay. Then it's the same thing. Patient ID the hospital name, oncologist name, then we load the courses and everything. Then in the structures, you can search body. Remember, you search body and you give all the parameters over there. So you give the parameters of HU threshold, whatever you want to. You can change it to 800, you can change it. Keep largest parts, pre-disconnect, fill all cavities. Okay. All these parameters, whatever you are giving there, you can give it here, you can change it. You can even have one page where you input all the values and you change it. Okay. You can remove structures from here. You can delete structures. Okay. You can search body and I can show you. You can move structures. Okay. You've got a structure. You want to move the entire structure 2 centimeter to the left, 2 centimeter to the right. You can do that. Okay. You can delete an empty structure or any structure for that matter. Just check if it is empty. And then, so is empty means it is empty. Okay. That's how you know whether it is empty or not. You can create a PTV sum. Okay. Then we have Boolean structures. Okay. So Boolean structures are what and or all these functions. You should know that what and does and what or does. Okay. Now we have plan. Yeah. So the next question is that can we do planning with this? Yes, we can do planning with this, but the question will be like, why would you want to do a planning outside? If it is for 3D or something, then okay. But really, if you want to do a planning outside the script, you open it with this. Okay, you choose the machine. So for that, you have to choose the beams. You have to choose the unit ID, the treatment unit ID. Okay, you have to choose the machine's ID number here. This ID number is the same ID that you have given in the RT admin. That is the ID you need to choose. Okay, you have to choose the calculation model, whether it's AAA or Acuros, whatever model you want to use. Okay, the optimization model you have to use for PO, and then you just say optimize. Okay. You set the calculation model, and here it is. You optimize the plan, say optimize VMAT, and whatever optimization options you have chosen above will be your default. Okay, and if you remember, for a write-only code, we started with begin modifications, and here we are ending with save modifications. Okay, so after optimize, you calculate the dose, and then you can do it. So for reading DDH, we have, like we already seen, actually, the volume can be absolute, the volume can be relative. Same for the dose. You just use get DBH cumulative data for the structure, and you say in which dose value, whether you want it gray or centigrade, the volume presentation and the bin width. Okay, so you get the max dose, mean dose, median dose. Okay. All of this you can get in a single line of code. But when you want an dose at a particular point, then you use this, the structure, the value, and the volume and the dose representation. Okay. Now, the writing this code, actually, these codes are all available. There are a lot of documents available. You can always verify that. It is there in the market, and you can start coding. Now, the problem is some people are not used to coding. Some people don't know coding, and some people don't have the time to remember that what it was. Okay, how was the context? You start juggling between Java, Python, C, and at some point you start jumping your code and you don't remember what it is. It happens to me many times. Okay, which one do you write? Okay, nowadays the new scripts do allow some of them commonly, but again, the Eclipse compiler doesn't accept some of them. Okay, So what do we do? In today's world, okay, we have AI for this. Okay. So I use Claude. Okay. It's just a personal preference. So you can use any of the AI. You can use Gemini, you can use Code AI, you can use any of the AI. Okay. To start with, actually, you can use a free version. It will help you just generate a new code. But always remember, you have to ask the right questions to it. Then it will tell you what to do. Okay. And you just say that, please write a single file, please write this. Okay. And this is one of the examples of what we can give it to a AI. So let me do one thing. Let's try this. Let's copy this. Let's go to Claude and say, yeah, you are an expert. Write a single file read-only ESAPI plugin for the plan setup in one message. The monitor units, the waste to volume, the percentage of coordinates, use namespaces, and that's it. Let's see what it does. Okay, it's thinking. So now the AI started thinking. This is where artificial intelligence comes. Imagine that there is a person who doesn't know anything about coding. Okay, he has not seen a single code in his entire life. And I'm talking of people who closed their eyes while we were showing the codes. So for them, actually, this is the best thing. Actually, it's very easy. And for those people who are good coders and who know A to Z of coding, actually, again, this is the best thing to do. It does everything. When I showed you the script, actually, so I populated the entire table of doors and everything. It was easy. I wanted to do the DVH, actually, display. I had been confused of which tool to use, actually, how to draw the curves and how to do it. It just gave me 5 minutes. See, that's the code. That's it. What is written, why it is written, you don't need to know anything actually. So let's try to download this. Yeah, we will name it as BMU report. We'll save it. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it's not an approved script, but I have an old one. Yeah, see, we were talking about how to write a script for almost an hour, almost half an hour, 40 minutes. And the same thing the AI did it in 2 minutes. Okay, but you need to tell you need ESAPI. I generally specify variant ESAPI so that it understands better. You please mention the version that you want. Okay, and say what are the details you want. Okay, usually the namespaces you don't have to mention, it does everything by itself. Just make sure that you say the version number and the variant ESAPI. It will create a script for you. Right, friends? So just a heads up, sometimes it gives hallucinated codes. So just check the code always. Okay. If you generated an AI, don't use it clinically unless until you have checked the code or you have asked some of your friends to verify the code. Okay. And always remember, the AI is your co-pilot. You are always the pilot. You are the decision maker and all the responsibilities fall on you. So for all the people, I just have a small roadmap. So you start with a little bit of C hash essentials, read it. Just try a plugin that we did, that Hello World, the simple one actually. Try some DVH readings, try to create a plugin, create a standalone EXE, and try to use it in your department or give it to your friend, see whether it works in another department. Try that, take your time. You can do it in a week or you can do it in 6 weeks actually. So in a busy department, you can just spend just few times for doing this. Okay. Note this. This is where you have all the informations. Okay. The official information is there in the variant portal. There is a GitHub repository with anything that you can imagine in a variant API. Actually, everything is there. You think, okay, I want to get this information like this format. It is there. Actually, you can just go for it. Carlos Anderson's blog. Some people say it's old. No, it's not actually. It's gold. So there is very detailed explanation of what is what and how you get the information from there. And little bit of C# fundamentals will definitely help you. Okay. That's it. I hope that some things were clear. So if any questions are there, we can go for it. I know that coding is a very, very tough subject, but with AI, I hope that we'll get a lot of coders. Anybody having any questions?
You want to ask a question, just simply unmute your mic and simply ask the question. That's all. Or otherwise, type it in a chat box. Both will.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, hi sir. This is Omkar from Saracen Reliance Hospital, Mumbai.
Yes.
I recently started the coding and just touched the Eclipse scripting. So I have two questions. The first one is so if I create any code, how I can validate that? And the second one is the real issue with the Halcyon or Ethos machine. So when we do the image matching, the CBCT and the CT matching on the machine, we are not able to find the rotational shifts because 60 couch is not there. So I create one code which compare means which just overlap city and CBCT images, and it is giving me the rotational shifts also. But I'm not able to validate that thing with any solid data. So how to validate the code is my question in these two scenarios.
So I don't know if I got your question correctly, but I'll tell you one thing. In your console, in your Halcyon or TrueBeam console, if you go into the administration settings, okay, you can actually ask us to show the 60 corrections. Okay, it is available in all
if
the
60 couch is not there, then
you ask
then
your engineer to just show the 60 corrections. Without a 60 couch, you cannot apply the 60 corrections, but it will show you the 60 corrections when you do a CBCT matching. Okay. So generally what variant does is actually they keep that disabled because you don't have a 60 couch, but it is not any license or anything. Actually, you just go into system administrator and you just enable it. So you will get the 60 values. Okay. So whatever images you're trying, actually you try that and then you validate your code with that values.
Okay, because what I was doing, I was importing that images in say contouring system, and I'm just registering that images. And in properties, I'm getting the shift. But every time the shift is different because the matching will be different with different type of filter.
Yeah. Depending on your ROI.
Yeah. So I will see that option. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me, sir? Good afternoon. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, please.
Sir, this is Sridhar from Kadamular, Mangalore, sir. I spoke to you once. We have an LC and Lite. Is that rapid plan can be validated through this coding, sir?
Validating rapid plan.
Yes,
so rapid plan can be validated. So you create the plans with rapid plan, and
yes,
then you compare your plans. Actually, you make tabular comparisons, plan evaluations, and then you can do that. Or
with
if you want to run rapid plan in script, that is also possible.
Okay, sir. With using small any AI
actually, it is there. So you create your rapid plan models. In your script, actually, you call that rapid plan model and you can run it.
Okay, sir. Is there any small tool which is available for AI which we can use?
AI?
Yes, sir.
You try Claude. I have been using Claude and I'm happy with it.
Okay, sir. Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Praveen has asked one question in the chat. Whether ESAPI can move support structures like couch or bolus. Actually, yes. Structure is a structure for the ESAPI. All structures are structures. You can move the couch actually. So we also tried that for some reason actually in some of our old versions. But moving the couch with ESAP was not one of our purposes actually, because we had to visually see and match it. That's why we left it. But definitely, yes, technically it's possible.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Can I ask one question? Yeah. Hi, this is Dr. Gagan from Apollo Cancer Center. So I want to ask one thing, sir, regarding this scripting. What is your opinion about using the RAG system for making such agents to develop these scripts outside the scripting environment?
Pardon, can you please repeat? Actually, your voice was not clear. Please.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now. Yes, please.
My question is regarding the use of RAG system to create scripts outside the TPS or scripting environment that can be directly imported into the TPS that can be done.
Yes, absolutely. That's going to be the future. So that is going to happen. If you don't
So
do
my
it, somebody
question
else is
is
going to do
regarding
it first.
Yeah, my actually I am working on RAG system. So my question is regarding, if you have experience in RAG, then my question is regarding the RAG. So which RAG system or which RAG architecture we should use to tackle this kind of problem?
I don't have experience with RAG systems actually. So my knowledge is as much as I have read from Google. So I don't want to comment on that. You might be able to give us more insights into it actually. So maybe you can give us one
Actually,
talk
I am
about
working with the race station scripting, not with the Eclipse. So
that.
So we have race station system here.
Right.
So I am thinking, means I am working to create a RAG system for like customized scripts for the TPS, but still I am learning. That's why I asked if you have better experience or better knowledge about these systems. That will be helpful for me.
No, I think I'm not an expert. Definitely not in this.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. It was a nice presentation actually, and thank you for that first. And I'm Hemant, sir, working as intern physicist in Shalin Healthcare. So I know like intermediate level of Python coding, sir, but I don't know much in deep about ESAPI. So if I have a raw Python code, sir, I can make codes like raw codes. Okay. So what would be the roadmap I should develop on to make that to be a ESAPI code, etc.
See,
what the things which I
I
could
would
learn in.
Yeah, if you know Python actually, okay, and if you already have a code in Python, take the code, paste it in this AI. Okay, you can use Gemini, you can use Claude, you can use Code AI, any of them, whatever you are having actually. So just paste it on that and say that you convert this into a C#. Okay, and once you get the code, go through it and try to understand what it is doing. Okay, so you will have an understanding of how it is. So if you are an intermediate coder actually, what I would recommend is to go for AI today. That is the best learning part actually. Okay, that is the fastest path in which you can achieve it. But my only advice is read through the code and understand what it has done.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. So as code, we should know some basics of C#, right, sir?
With AI, you can definitely do it without that. It will give you all detailed codes without even knowing the codes. But you should always know that what it is creating actually, because we are responsible for that, right? So it is always a good thing that either you read the code or you ask somebody to just evaluate it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll have one more, two questions, then we'll wind up the session.
Hi, sir. Omkar here again. Hello. Am I audible?
You are audible.
Yeah. Actually, sir, to run the code externally means outside the Eclipse, do we need internet connection or any Google what search engine? And
No,
if it is needed, then what about the data security?
no. Eclipse works in a
So,
very closed environment. Eclipse will work inside Eclipse only. Even if you create a exe file, actually, it has to run in Eclipse only. Okay, if you
okay.
open the same exe file in the ARIA system without an Eclipse, it will not work. So you have to work inside that Eclipse only. It is using your Eclipse to run it. Okay, like I said, it is just an application where you design all the interface. Okay, and when you start the code, like I showed you, it is opening an external beam planning. So it cannot work outside the Eclipse system. It doesn't need any internet or anything. It is a very local run system. So same as your external beam planning. Wherever your external beam planning is there, only in that system you can open and run it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
we have a
last
question in the chat.
last question in the chat box. That's the last question. Then we'll wind up.
We have a question in chat box
Yes.
to check whether the couch kicks don't cause potential gantry couch collisions. So can I script a check to ensure couch kicks don't cause potential gantry couch collisions? Absolutely, yes, we can do that. But I vaguely remember somewhere that I think there is already an existing code in the GitHub. Okay, so if you can just go through the GitHub repository, I have seen this somewhere actually. It is there. It can be done.
And thank you, sir. And yeah, we'll wind up the session. And I'm sure this session has been useful to many medical physicists and to start exploring coding in the first place and ESAPI in their own clinical practice and to push their learning journey. And on behalf of the Medical Physics Coding and Learning Hub, I genuinely thank you for your time and effort and willingness to share your knowledge with us, sir. And thank you all the participants for joining us today and make this session interactive and successful. And we look forward to seeing you again for upcoming sessions as well. And have a wonderful day and thank you. And if you have any questions, please drop it in our group also. We'll answer that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
to everyone. Thanks, Dinesh.